Hi there, my name is Greg, also known as Greybeard for some weird reason. I'm a game ranger. I'm a nationally regarded safari guide, and I just wanted to tell you a few stories from the safari days. I believe that as with the as modern life gets more fast, as it gets faster, we're starting to lose our storytellers. We're starting to lose real stories because everything is on a computer. Um, People don't read anymore, and the art of storytelling is being lost. So I want to hand a few stories over before people start to forget. Now, many years ago, when Greybeard was a young man, and I worked at one of the top private game reserves called Sabi Sabi Private Game Lodge, and almost all our guests were international people. Some were experienced safari goers with many, many years and hundreds of hours of game viewing in both in South Africa, where we are, and in Kenya and Tanzania, and the great safari destinations. But I want you to know that although our wildlife is absolutely fantastic, some of our guests are even more fantastic and even fantastical. I remember one night on game dive at Sabi Sabi, we were running late, and I'd already had a couple of rude radio calls from the chef, who was a very, very fierce lady. Why aren't you back? What is your ETA? Which means what is your estimated time of arrival back at the lodge? But we were out in the bush, a long way from the lodge, and in our spotlights, we use spotlights at night to follow the game because your predators prefer to hunt at night. I had a whole pride of lions, including 4 sub-adult males. Those are like teenagers. Now, even teenage lions are like teenage kids. They get into trouble. And what had happened, they had cornered a great big warthog boar down a hollow termite mound. Termite mounds are used as accommodation for all sorts of animals, and warthogs like to live down these burrows that they dig into the side of these termite mounds. But warthogs go into the burrow in reverse so they can charge out nose first. And the big males have very, very fierce tushes, a little bit like my tushes, but much sharper. Anyway, so these lions were digging away at this burrow, and it's like iron. And this warthog was snorting and huffing and puffing inside the burrow. But they don't like to come out at night, and they especially know they're safe down there. So anyway, eventually Mom Lioness got the youngsters away from the entrance of the burrow, and she lay on top of the burrow. And we were waiting in anticipation. And I could hear all the guests, what's happening, what's happening? Say, what's going on, what's going on? And suddenly, out the end of this burrow, this warthog came. He looked left, he looked right, didn't look up the top, and we could see this lioness, eyes open wide, and she was literally quivering with anticipation. And Piggy thought, you know what, I'm going to get out of here and possibly move my accommodation. And as he stuck his head out the burrow, this lioness dived on top of him. But this was a big piggy. And the lioness was not a big girl. Very fierce, but not a big girl. And this warthog reversed down the burrow, dragging this lioness with him. And the noise was unbelievable. Squealing from the piggy, growling from this lioness. All the cubs rushed up to join in, but we just saw Mom's butt and tail and legs disappearing down the burrow. Noise and confusion, and eventually she scrabbled her way out. But a couple of bent whiskers, thoroughly beaten up, and the cubs were like, okay, Mom, where's dinner? So she sat down. This is in front of us. We were sitting there absolutely spellbound. And she sat down and she licked, and she, being a kitty, she made herself look beautiful again. And she went to the top of the mound again. And the same story. After about 5 or 6 minutes, Piggy came out, looked left, looked right, had not learned his lesson, did not look up. And Mrs. Lioness dived on top of him again. Squealing, absolute confusion, same story. She got dragged halfway down the burrow and scrambled out. And you will not believe it. The third time, the piggy stuck his nose out the end of the burrow. Then from the back of the vehicle, our game drive vehicle, where we'd all been sitting, absolutely spellbound, I just heard this New York voice, "Don't come out the hole, piggy! Don't come out the hole!" And we were trying to shush her up. But this piggy was not listening to this New York accent. It came out again, absolute confusion. The pig charged away with his lioness attached to his butt and disappeared. All was confusion. And this woman on the back was absolutely raging. "You gonna do something about this?" Like I'm gonna jump out in the middle of the night and separate these two animals? I don't think so. And that's the crazy kind of thing that happens out there in the bush. It's not necessarily the animals, it's the people. Now, Greg Blade's going to come back with a couple of other interesting stories. Don't go away. I might look like an old dozy old bugger, but I know what I'm talking about. So you hang in there, especially all you would-be rangers.